about maybe 2.5 or 3, 2.5 maybe. Say 2.5. Two of the same fabrics. They're quite similar sized in width. One is this lovely sort of lilac colour, and then this blue that's equally lovely. This is a prototype, similarly like that thing here, just a prototype. They're just sort of rough fabrics that are just chucked together to create a shape. I've left one part of it open, so this is going to be the hem, that's where you're going to get into it. This end down here is closed off, so you can't get out of it. So we've just got something longer than the body. It's a good starting point because a lot of fabric is oblong. You need to buy 2 fabrics, whatever lengths you want, and depending on whether you're making a top, a dress, a skirt, a t-shirt, sleeve, trouser, whatever it is. And you take your blocks at your starting point. I usually face my front down that way, and my back going towards the end that's sealed off. But they can be close together, or they can become far apart. If you want to save space in between them, then you can lock them in tight. You can, if you want, just kind of chuck them into place and just think, there you go, that's a nice starting point. Throw them in the air and close your eyes if you wish. These things are all going to have outcomes, but it's up to you to just sort of experiment and try and see what they are. I'm going to mark around the top part of the pattern. Don't mark around the bottom part. And I'm going to ignore the darts on this pattern because this garment is going to be unfitted for speed. I'll fit it later if I felt it needed it. I'm going to cut fairly quick just so you can see it happen, but there's certain things I'm going to be cutting corners on a bit. Probably doesn't, I don't know how well I don't know if you can zoom in, pick up the, you might not be able to see them yet, but when I cut it out you'll see them. So I've marked my front, which is there. I'll leave that in place for the moment. And my back here, and I haven't sort of measured anything at this point. And you can use your own patterns if you wish. So they might already have sort of details on them that you've pre-designed at some point. But what has to happen now is my side seams have to join together. They join together in a loop. And that loop is going to go like this. And then on this side, like that. I'm going to cut them out. In April, we're myself and the British Fashion Council and coming together with 5 cutters to show a creative cutting seminar that colleges are hopefully going to be invited to if the British Fashion Council can pull their finger out soon. And it's going to be, there's some really amazing cutters who are going to be involved. There's one particular I think is great. I don't know if you've ever had this person come near your college, or I'm sure you could if you wished to invite them. But, they do some cutting at LCF and St Martin's and Westminster. They're called Shingo Sato. Shingo Sato is a cutter I work quite a bit with. We do collaborations together. Kind of very interesting guy. He's I don't know if you've ever seen the book Pattern Magic, which is produced by a professor from Bunker University in Tokyo. Well, he's also from Bunker University in Tokyo, but he does full-scale versions of it, whereas Pattern Magic is a half-scale. It's shown in half scale, and he does it full scale, and also he does some far more interesting stuff with Pattern Magic. So, really fascinating guy. He's got a YouTube channel called TR Pattern, one word, and he's got loads and loads of videos on there that you can follow and look at. They're all free. That show this method of cutting called transformational reconstruction. It's basically dark manipulation, but it's done in a very, very creative and interesting way. He's one of the cutters who's going to be at this cutting seminar at Somerset House and the British Fashion Council are trying to get colleges into fairly soon. But we're also getting a tailor involved, and when I was doing my menswear MA at the Royal College of Art, I learned, I had this fantastic session with this old tailor who was about 80, called John Polaris, and John Polaris was a completely miserable sod who was the most talented tailor I've ever met, and so He wasn't interested in us making fancy designs. He wanted to make a 3-button single-breasted jacket or a 4-button double-breasted, and with a peak reveal or a notch reveal. He didn't want you to mess around with it in any other way, but he would handcraft these garments in a session that would just look like they hadn't been touched by human hands. But he'd be rolling the fabric as he sews it and stitches it, using the moisture from his hands. When you hand stitch a sleeve head, you kind of use your fingers in a certain way to manipulate the sleeve head. There's lots and lots of sort of moisture and physicality that goes into making the garment, and I found it really fascinating to sort of see and learn this. And so he'd also do a lot of things like eye, and I think just like a one-day session watching a real master tailor at work can totally sort of transform your way of thinking. I think I probably learned more in that one day than any of the other, like a whole year of the RCAs. This guy Tom Mahondo, when I was watching him cutting, he'd put down on the table a layer of felt, and then he'd put down his top cloth, some sort of pinstripe or check, whatever it might be, that he's making a suit from. And the reason he put the felt underneath is that when you've got the chalk and you're drawing with the chalk, it's got a nice smooth journey. It's kind of like, the smoothness is important. It changes the way that you cut and the way that you use lines. I like to use Sharpies and marker pens and listen to music, because like you get some sort of really sort of punky, aggressive piece is going to change the way you're cutting compared to something that's classical and fluid, and music really affects the way that you're cutting, so it's something important to really cut. But always bear this in mind that in samurai tailoring there's this way of cutting that they have patterns that they don't follow. They're following lines within their heads, and those lines therefore need to be sympathetic and smooth lines that they've learned over many, many years of practice. It's called rock-of-eye, and rock-of-eye is this idea that if you're a sculptor, you can't see inside this block of stone to see the bird or the head that you're sculpting. You need to believe in that line when you're cutting and chiseling away. You find it. And same with samurai cutters, they draw lines according to bodies that they just experience over and over again and learn through trial and error. And but you can only kind of learn to do that by getting away from rulers and being freehand and experimenting. Right, you can see there. Cool. Can you possibly push it in a bit to so you can see all of that? Is it possible or not? So what I would take is this bit that I've removed here. I'd take a cardboard pattern of it if I was going to put it into production, and so then I can remake it, and I take a certain series of measurements of it if I were going to be remaking it in multiples. You can put these into production quite easy. Time, but the back shoulder goes to the front shoulder, and the garment kind of begins to create itself by very simply becoming three-dimensional. And you can see that the blue, which was on the back, is now beginning to come onto the front, and on the back it's both blue and lilac. I'll pin the shoulders together. You get used to, as you manipulate cloth, just always putting right sides together when you're sewing things, because you know that would result in the seam going onto the inside of the garment rather than on the outside. Well, I'm teaching trying to teach kind of fairly revolutionary ways of cutting. I still want my seams on the inside. I'm not a complete rebel. So if you want to put them seams on the outside, then knock yourself out. But I'm folding this in a way that I know they'll end up on the inside. I usually wouldn't use, because I usually sew it and then I wouldn't put many pins in it, but I will put some in it this time just because, just to hold its shape a little bit. So I've done my shoulders together, which pushes the same as inside. And then what happens is that you've got one side seam on this side, which is short when it doubles back on itself. And you start sewing from underneath the arm. Always start underneath the arm, don't start that end. And just keep sewing, and eventually it'll run out to nothing. I usually do it without pins in it, but for this purpose I will put a pin in just the starting point so that you can kind of begin to understand how this is made.